So shh, don't tell anyone, but we just had a big day here at the Hatzakastas household. I thought I'd share. Kids and I just went out and went to Dunkin' Donuts. Pretty exciting. You know, the kids actually, we've been home a week and a half. They haven't been in a car. We just had to get out. And it was interesting as we were driving there, my daughter Ella, who's 11, she said, you know, I feel like this is so bad that when it's done, it's going to be so good. And I thought, so, like, it's so profound, and it's so what I had been meaning to get on video and just talk to you guys about, because I feel like the more we all can help and give each other that message of hope and of vision and, quite frankly, of opportunities. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, like, what can you do at times like this in your career, at work, that help you feel like you're actually not a victim, that you're pushing forward. And I want to start by saying, I know other people are telling you this, like, we are going to get through this. And I know the news, like, I had all these news feeds on coronavirus and I've turned them off. We need to listen, right? It is bad, and there's a reason why they are telling us all the details, because that's the only way they can get literally an entire world all, sort of swimming the same direction so that we can stop this thing. At the same time, we have been through, I was thinking about, like, we have put men on the moon. We have, airplanes in the air flying. We have some of the most, we have cars that are parking themselves. We will figure this out. We will get through this. The incredible healthcare community and the scientists that I am certain are going to, they already are testing and they understand it. And if we can have tests that come to our home that tell us almost, in real time, like, what we're allergic to or what our country of origin is, we are going to find the right testing. We're going to find the right remedies and cures for this. And so I'm here to be that, like, light of hope. I was talking with a colleague this morning and he gave a great analogy that we're at that time right now where everybody's still, it's almost like you're 16 and you're learning to drive. And remember that? You used to, like, you would just look at, like, things right in front of you. You'd look like the windshield and, like, 5 feet in front of you. And hopefully somebody taught you very quickly that, like, the most important thing when you're driving is to look out and look at the horizon, look beyond. And that's what we need to do. And I thought that was really, really poignant. I know we're all probably have gone through stages of grief, and that's what it is. Like, we're grieving kind of life as we know it. But as you get to a time of acceptance, I think it's really important to understand the incredible opportunities that I am certain will come of this at both a macro level and then for you at a personal level, if you have the right mindset. I think of, like, all the stories of, like, Jeff Bezos. His parents gave him almost their entire life savings. It was like $300,000 to start Amazon. And he had, like, left his job. And it's so easy now to be like, duh, of course he did. Like, he had no idea that this online bookstore was going to become a giant. Or I think about the quote that Warren Buffett, when he talks about his investing strategy, he says, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. Like, this is the time. And then, like, I heard something great today too, that in between 2008 and 2010, where we're going through, like, the largest financial crisis that we had seen, right, since the Great Depression. And the companies that were started then, I mean, companies like Uber and Airbnb and Square and Venmo and you name it, there were just amazing, amazing companies that were literally started when times were, at that time, nobody could see their way out and people were, losing their jobs, and we turn it around. We always turn it around. And so, as I've reflected on this time, for me, like, yeah, my business is hit. Like, for example, one of the ways that I sustain my business is through speaking. And I literally in the last month booked 6 speaking engagements between May and September. And those, of course, most of those have already moved out or will move out. I'm feeling the impact too, like everybody else. I'm so lucky that I'm not feeling it at the significant scale of so many out there. At the same time, I've really thought about, okay, what can I do? Like, how do I pivot? How do I capitalize on this opportunity? So some of the things, like, First of all, I'm sitting in half-done office that was a playroom for many, many years, and I finally moved in this week. I am so happy. Like, it's not done. We're making it into an office and a homework station, and I'm working with somebody to help me do that. But like, I finally got my shit together and organized and cleaned, and I'm like, come in here every day. I'm so happy I have this beautiful like window shot out to our porch, and like, it wouldn't have happened if we weren't going through all of this. And I also have had writing a book on my heart for a long time, and I thought, oh, maybe this summer. Well, no, like this week I started the book. Now, of course, that means like I wrote like the very beginning of an outline, and I actually have like a direction on name and things like that. Like, but I started, and I'm taking a course over the next 2 days where I'm investing in a course that is going to help me write that outline and start writing that book. And like, I want that book someday to look at it and be like, I wrote this in time of intense crisis, and it's going to be so much more meaningful. And we were investing, like we actually personally doubled down on an investment in a company just this week. And we know that like this is the time when everybody's scared that it's going to make a difference. So what I want to talk about though is in particular in your career, and some things that I've been writing about and thinking about is, you know, at a time like this, it's so easy to look to our boss, our managers, like, you know, what are we going to do? Look for them to be sort of your savior or your guide. And the reality is they are so far from knowing all the answers and infallible that they need your help too. They've never been through anything like this. And this is like such an incredible time to not only help and serve them and make sure you sort of break down those lines of like hierarchy and who should be like giving direction to who, but it's also a great opportunity to demonstrate leadership skills. I mean, some of the things that I talk about all the time, but I would say now more than ever, like now is the time to show that you are somebody that when faced with crisis, and like no bigger crisis than this, that you step up. And the things you can do are so simple. Like, I know what you might be feeling. You might be like, yeah, right, Erin. I am juggling a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old and conference calls, and like, I'm done. I don't have anything more. Like, no, they are really, really simple things that you can do to really show and serve, but then also be somebody that not only like shows your leadership skills and potential for advancement in the future, but you know, in this time, the reality is there's going to be layoffs at some companies, and showing that you're a team player, that you're you can do multiple things, that you're not just somebody that like works on widgets, that you can expand your roles and responsibilities and you can step up to the plate is a great way to not feel like you're a victim and feel like you're taking action to do your best to protect yourself and also to create opportunities for you in the future. So a couple tips that I have. The first is very simple. Like, this is the time to be thanking people. It's always good practice, right? But publicly, like sending emails, you're all virtual, all working hard. Set aside time if you have to write that email that thanks somebody, and copy in your boss and their boss. Make sure that others see the great things they're doing, especially if you're used to being in a work environment. Or if you have a company recognition program, set aside time on your calendar, like 15 minutes even, like every Friday morning, to nominate even just one person into that program. Like, we need that more than ever, and that'll keep people's spirits going. That'll show that you're a great leader. The second thing, which isn't quite as fun, but is so, so important, don't wait for people to come to you asking for like, how could we save money? Like, this is a great time, especially if you're closer to things, which is typical, like you understand the mechanics. Maybe you don't understand the financials, which you could ask for data and information, but get together with your peers, or if you manage vendors, and brainstorm, you know. And it's not about like going to your vendors and like hammering them. It's like, go with them and say, hey, I would love to, you know, be able to proactively suggest some ways that we can save money. Do you have any ideas? You can come in, Ella. So, you know, think about going to your boss and saying like, I have ideas, even if it's saving, you know, $10,000. They all the way up the chain, trust me, they're getting beat on and beat on, like, where do we save? And by doing this, you show you're a leader. You also show that there are other ways to save money than just, you know, cutting headcount. So I can't tell you, I mean, my old leadership role, when I implemented greater transparency, like almost immediately a frontline manager found almost $1 million that we were overbilled for. And you know, none of us knew the details. Never one of us would have known to look under those covers. So do that. And the third suggestion I'll throw out is like start a support group. And by support group, what I mean by that, it can be everything from something that's more formal, that's like, hey, like I want to get together, 20 minutes a week, or maybe it's just an email chain where you share best tips for working from home or best practices around juggling, clients' challenges. Or you could set up a meeting with your peers. Maybe your peers don't always maybe you're an account executive or account manager, you don't always get together. Maybe you're sort of siphoned off. Like, take the initiative to get together with your peers and say, like, these are hard times. Like, what are you hearing? What's working? What kind of communications are you doing? What, what can I leverage and what can you leverage? Let's help each other out. And even things like just adding to your agenda item. This is like one of my, I'm a one-trick pony sometimes. This, add just something to an agenda of a meeting that you're leading that's just simply slow down and inspire. That's what I called mine. You can call them anything. You can call them, call it something better than like best practices, but like just lead time and make space to share what's working, both at work, at home, and I'm telling you, it's the most contagious thing you can do. So I hope some of these tips are helpful. I'm working a lot of pieces. I'm working with some different folks, and we'll be sharing as much as I possibly can, because I will tell you, the best thing I've seen out of all of this is I feel like authenticity is dripping out of places everywhere that it wasn't before. I think people are faced, like Ella said, it was so bad that you have to kind of laugh, right? And I think, this whole concept of everybody in the entire world having a common enemy, we all have one common enemy, and it's this virus that just really helps people put down their guards and just say, screw it, I'm just gonna be who I am. And it makes me so happy. So as always, I encourage you to continue to lead with authenticity. I always say people respect authority, but they follow authenticity. So keep that up, take action. We're gonna get through this. I'll talk to you soon.